Arwen's decision to renounce her immortality and embrace a mortal life has long puzzled fans of The Lord of the Rings. Yet this deeply emotional choice is profoundly rooted in the rich lore of J.R.R. Tolkien's legendarium. Tolkien, the British author often regarded as the father of modern fantasy, crafted an expansive world steeped in history, mythology, and intricate character arcs. His magnum opus, The Lord of the Rings, was released in 3 parts between 1954 and 1955 and later adapted into the iconic film trilogy directed by Peter Jackson. While Jackson took creative liberties with the dialogue and presentation, he preserved the essence of Arwen's, portrayed by Liv Tyler, pivotal decision, which is vividly brought to life in The Two Towers. In Jackson's adaptation, Arwen's choice to forego immortality is underscored by a haunting vision delivered by her father, Elrond, Hugo Weaving, in a desperate attempt to dissuade her from staying with Aragorn, Viggo Mortensen. Elrond paints a bleak picture of her future. He foresees Aragorn growing old and eventually succumbing to death, leaving Arwen alone in the world, bound by the eternal grief of her immortal existence. This vision, situated midway through The Two Towers, is a cinematic moment that encapsulates the emotional weight of her decision. However, instead of persuading Arwen to leave Aragorn and sail west with her people, the vision reinforces her resolve. She chooses a mortal life not because she underestimates the pain of loss, but because she values the fleeting happiness she will share with Aragorn over an eternity devoid of him. This narrative thread is a poignant exploration of love, sacrifice, and mortality, core themes that permeate Tolkien's work. While the mechanics of Arwen's transformation into a mortal are not explicitly explained in either Tolkien's text or Jackson's films, the emotional and symbolic weight of her choice carries profound significance. Arwen's decision is not merely about love, it is a deliberate rejection of the timeless existence of the elves in favor of embracing the bittersweet reality of human life. By choosing mortality, she aligns herself with Aragorn's humanity, fully committing to their shared destiny. Tolkien subtly addresses the idea of such transformations in his broader mythology. In the Silmarillion and other writings, he reveals that the Valar, powerful godlike beings, granted Luthien to Nuviel, an ancestor of Arwen, the gift of mortality after she chose to forsake her immortal elven life for her love, the mortal Baron. This parallel between Luthien and Arwen is intentional and serves to deepen the resonance of Arwen's choice. Both women make the ultimate sacrifice for love, defying the natural order of their kind. By echoing this ancient tale within The Lord of the Rings, Tolkien weaves a tapestry of recurring themes and archetypes, adding layers of depth to Arwen's story. In Peter Jackson's films, this connection to Luthien is subtly hinted at in Arwen's dialogue and costuming, as well as Aragorn's reference to her as Nuviel during their first meeting. These nods further reinforce the mythic quality of their love story, placing it within the context of Middle-earth's long and storied history. Jackson's visual storytelling amplifies the emotional impact of Arwen's choice, particularly through the melancholic tone of the scenes depicting her vision of Aragorn's death and her own sorrowful future. Ultimately, Arwen's decision is a testament to the power of love and the human experience. It highlights the beauty and tragedy of mortality, reminding audiences that life's fleeting nature is what gives it meaning. Arwen's journey, both in Tolkien's writing and Jackson's adaptation, serves as a poignant reminder that love often requires sacrifice, but it is precisely through such sacrifices that life becomes truly extraordinary. This timeless narrative continues to resonate with audiences today, offering a profound meditation on what it means to live, to love, and to choose a path that transcends one's own fears and limitations. Arwen's unique choice, immortality or mortality in The Lord of the Rings. In The Lord of the Rings, Arwen's ability to choose between an immortal or mortal life is deeply rooted in her unique heritage as someone of both elvish and human descent. This rare choice, known as the choice of Luthien, reflects a recurring theme in J.R.R. Tolkien's legendarium, the intersection of love, sacrifice, and the boundaries between mortality and immortality. Arwen's choice to embrace mortality for the sake of her love for Aragorn echoes the story of her ancestor Luthien, one of Middle-earth's most celebrated figures. Luthien was no ordinary elf. She was half elf and half Maya, the latter being a divine, immortal race of beings. Her tale is one of courage and devotion. As she fell deeply in love with Beren, a mortal man, their love defied the natural order of the world, culminating in a legendary partnership that required great sacrifice. When Luthien and Beren faced death together, the 15 Valar, the godlike guardians of Middle-earth, presented Luthien with an unprecedented choice. She could either accept her elvish fate, which would ensure her immortality, or choose to return to life as a mortal alongside Beren. Her choice to forsake immortality for the chance to live and die with Beren became a powerful symbol of love transcending boundaries. Their union brought forth Dior, a mortal, who further connected the two races. Dior married an elf, and their lineage continued through Elwing. Simultaneously, another notable mixed-species couple, Tuor, a man, and Idril, an elf, brought forth Eärendil. When Eärendil married Elwing, they had 2 sons, Elros and Elrond, both of whom inherited Luthien's rare choice between mortality and immortality. Elros chose a mortal life and became the first king of Númenor, founding a line of noble humans known as the Dúnedain. This lineage eventually led to Aragorn, who would win Arwen's heart. Elrond, on the other hand, chose immortality and remained an elf, becoming a wise and enduring figure throughout the ages of Middle-earth. This choice did not end with Elros and Elrond. It passed down through Elrond's children, including Arwen. When faced with her own choice, Arwen made the bold decision to embrace mortality, mirroring Luthien's sacrifice. For Arwen, it was unthinkable to endure eternity without Aragorn. Her choice was also driven by the faint hope of sharing an afterlife with him, a concept that remains mysterious and largely undefined within Tolkien's works. Arwen's decision was more than a personal sacrifice. It represented a bridge between two worlds, the immortal and the mortal, highlighting the powerful, transformative nature of love. Her story, like Luthien's, resonates with the timeless themes of hope, loss, and the enduring strength of the human and elvish spirit. Ultimately, Arwen's choice solidifies her place as one of Middle-earth's most compelling characters, whose legacy mirrors that of her extraordinary ancestors. Her decision reminds us that even in a world filled with magic, power, and immortality, love remains the most potent force of all. Why Arwen chooses mortality in The Lord of the Rings. Arwen's decision to surrender her immortality in The Lord of the Rings is rooted in a profound realization. Mortals are not bound forever to the circles of the world, and beyond them is more than memory. While elvish immortality may seem ideal, it is not without its limitations. In Tolkien's lore, elves' bodies can perish from grief, weariness, injury, or the toll of their immortal souls if they linger in Middle-earth for too long. Crucially, even though their souls are truly eternal, they are bound to Arda, the physical world that encompasses Middle-earth. Upon death, an elf's soul typically travels to the halls of Mandos in Aman, where it awaits potential reincarnation. In contrast, the fate of men after death is vastly different and shrouded in mystery. After their bodies die, human souls also journey briefly to the halls of Mandos, but from there, they depart to an unknown destination beyond Arda, one even the Valar cannot comprehend. This enigmatic destiny is the fundamental difference between the souls of elves and men. When a part elf like Arwen chooses mortality, the most definitive change is the soul's ultimate fate. Along with a finite lifespan, other elvish traits, such as pointed ears or telepathy, may remain unchanged, though Tolkien does not make this entirely clear. What makes Arwen's choice so poignant is the possibility that her mysterious afterlife will reunite her with Aragorn, a hope that gives her sacrifice meaning and depth. How Arwen's decision in the movies differs from J.R.R. Tolkien's books. Aragorn and Arwen's relationship in the Lord of the Rings movies ultimately leads to the same result as in J.R.R. Tolkien's books. Arwen chooses mortality, marries Aragorn, remains in Middle-earth, and eventually dies. However, the journey to that conclusion unfolds quite differently between the two mediums. In Peter Jackson's films, several key scenes involving Arwen were invented for cinematic purposes rather than directly adapted from the books. For example, the subplot where Arwen sets off for the Grey Havens, experiences a vision of her future child with Aragorn, and changes her mind was entirely original to the films. Despite these deviations, Jackson managed to stay true to the emotional core of the story, capturing the weight and sorrow of Arwen's decision. At its heart, this storyline revolves around the profound agony of Arwen's choice. She finds herself caught between two worlds, immortality and mortality, each a gift with its own burdens. This tension reflects one of Tolkien's most poignant themes, the bittersweet nature of mortality. While immortality spares one from death, it also denies the release and transcendence that come with embracing the end of life. Jackson's portrayal of Arwen's struggle communicates this beautifully, emphasizing that while death is painful, accepting it brings a unique sense of purpose and reward rather than punishment. However, Jackson did omit one important aspect of Arwen's story from the books. After Aragorn's death, he asks Arwen if she might reconsider her choice and sail west to the Undying Lands. But by then, her decision was irreversible. No ship would carry her. Though the films hint otherwise, Legolas and Gimli later took a ship westward. While mortals like Arwen were technically barred from the Undying Lands, rare exceptions were granted, such as Samwise Gamgee. Still, even if Arwen's suffering might have qualified her for an exception, she had already renounced her chance. In Tolkien's appendix, she nobly gave her ticket to Frodo, saying, "In my stead you shall go," recognizing that his suffering surpassed even hers. By adding layers of doubt and visions to Arwen's story, Jackson deepened her internal conflict and made it resonate with audiences while staying true to Tolkien's overarching message. Death is a gift, but it's also a choice. And that choice carries extraordinary weight.